welcome. Is this working in the back? I don't know what a hand means in the back. I guess that means it's working. Tonight is a celebratory event. Yay. Yeah, all right. Oh, the applause, I didn't see the applause sign that just went. Tonight is a celebration with some reflections on the last year and looking ahead towards the year ahead. As we gather together, we honor our cornerstones: education, health, yeah, you're going to mouth them, health, place, technology, and community. So you're going to hear some highlights that note each of those over the evening. Let me start, though, by going back 30 years when I was 22. I was reading today, as I've read several times before, the inaugural issue of the Celebration Journal 30 years ago. Peter Rummel, 1989. I'm not going to read you everything from there, but here are a couple of quotes from 3 different articles in that journal. Peter Rummel, he's talking about celebration. I don't think anything was paved at that point. He says, the feel will in many areas be closer to Main Street than the future world. I think that's a reference to, was it SeaWorld? No. The feel will in many areas be closer to Main Street than the future world. Nothing here will be different for the sake of being different, but designed to be enduring and comfortable. The special will be the accent, the spice, used artfully and deliberatively. That was Peter Rummel 30 years ago. Page, I can't read it, but page, anyway. John Gardner, known as an educator, wrote a very thoughtful piece. There's 10 points he made. I will just read 2 sentences. We must seek to regenerate the sense of community from the ground up. And then we can never stop rebuilding. And then the last quote is from the editor-in-chief for this journal, Carol Engel Everett, and she writes, "That is where celebration will make its critical mark, for it breathes to life an intangible heritage, and that heritage is one of hope. Hope, indeed, gives us all reason to celebrate." So as I was reading those articles, again, rereading today, I thought that that sets the stage for tonight, celebration, our pillars, look at the year past, and look towards the year ahead. So with that, let us pledge allegiance to our flag. If you'd all rise, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I'll formally call this meeting to order and ask that we can verify a quorum. The quorum for the annual meeting is 20% of the eligible voters. And with 4,321 homes in celebration, about 50 are not eligible to vote, so that leaves us 4,278. We need 856 required for a quorum, which is required to conduct business. That does not mean meeting adjourned. It just means we cannot conduct business tonight. We're going to proceed. Since we do not have a quorum, we will proceed with the agenda as you have it. So no business is being conducted tonight. Before I introduce the board, the 2018 Board of Directors, I understand Commissioner for District 1 is here, Peggy Chowdhury. Oh, I didn't even see you. I was looking at you. I was looking for you. It's like, where's Peggy? I hear she's here. Yeah. So Peggy Chowdhury is here. We just want to recognize her. You can all introduce yourselves if you haven't met her. But thank you for your support. So we have the Board of Directors listed here. This is the 2018 Board of Directors. And now we're going to move to Steve talking about 2018 and 2019.
Yes, the 2018 Board of Directors are all sitting up here up front. As you all know, we had an election last night, and there was poll workers here quite late into the evening counting ballots. But we do have winners, and I'm not going to spoil it for you just yet, but if you looked on the website, you already know, but we'll announce those a little bit later. Do you guys all know these folks up here? Is there anybody that doesn't know them, that wants them to introduce themselves? No. Okay. All right, so before we get started, in the past I know we've kind of gone through some slides of my on-site team, but I wanted my team that was here tonight to just stand up real quickly so I can have you guys be recognized. So any of the staff that are here, thank you guys for coming and all the work that you all have done to put together this meeting today, so thank you. Okay, so in the past we've had each one of the board members talk a little bit about the strategic plan and some of the projects. We wanted to change it up just a little bit this year, and we're going to give a quick overview of some of the projects from 18 and some of the 19 projects, and then we're going to do more of a question and answer session. So was anybody here in September when we had more of a town hall type format where we had the microphone up here? So if you were here in September, you know we'll have the microphone pulled out. You're welcome to come up, ask questions about any of the things that we discussed, ask general questions. This is a celebratory meeting. There will not be business conducted tonight. These guys can't even vote tonight if they wanted to, because this is not a meeting of the Board of Directors. This is a meeting of the annual membership, and there could be business if there was a quorum, but since there's no quorum, we're going to try and keep it to where we can give you some updates on different things that are taking place. But we do encourage you to come back to workshops. I believe March 11th is going to be a workshop. We'll have some more meetings towards the end of the month, and then board meetings at the end of the month in April. So that gives you a great opportunity to come to those meetings, have some more open conversation about agenda items that are on those meetings, and really have an opportunity to get your voice heard with the Board of Directors. So with that said, the first project I want to discuss with you tonight is a pretty big project that we've been working on in 2018. That's the athletic field complex. So I have a few pictures that I'm going to show you, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what's going on with it. I wanted to document and show you this really great synthetic turf field that you're going to have in the community. This field was started from scratch. This was wetlands back there. And this is a picture of some of the pipes going in, and then some of the top dress, or the topsoil on top of it, and then some of the rock layers that go on it. So you can see early on in construction of this synthetic turf field. Then they got another layer of rocks, and then another layer of rocks on top of that, and then they start putting the carpet down on the field. So you can see it coming together here. And when you drive by on 417, you can really see it. You can see the lights, and you can see the field coming. So you can see this is the complete overview of the facility. And then here's a picture that was taken just today. And this is the concession building, the restroom concession building. That's going to have some more meeting room space, some concession space, and then there'll be some storage space in there also. And then here's an overview picture. And then I have a little bit better picture. First we'll talk about this. This is what the synthetic turf field looks like at completion. And you can see the Celebration logo in the middle there. It's lined for soccer, and then it's lined for boys and girls lacrosse. But I'll go back out to this one. And to get your bearings on where this is located, this end down here is the library. So the library would be somewhere around here. And as you drive in, you come to the CDD building, which is right over here. And then this is the Lot D that used to belong to the golf course that was purchased by CROA. So that's all been cleared out. As we get down to here, this is where the parking lot starts for the athletic field complex. And then here's the building here, so the concession building. And then you have field 1, field 2, and then the synthetic turf field. There's also a pavilion right off of the synthetic turf field. So you can see it's coming along nicely. Just to give you an update on the timing, this is final grade for both of these two fields. So final grade will get us to the point where the turf will come in. So the natural turf will come in, I believe, March 18th, and will be laid on those fields. And then this side back here is also Bermuda, but it's not exactly the same kind of turf that you use for playing surface. So this should be in next week sometime. So as they fill that in, you can see the landscaping's in. There's a landscaping buffer at the golf course. The sidewalk's being completed. The road will start being poured, concrete road, and then the building will be finished by the end of May, early June. So the project's moving along rather nicely, and we expect to have the full facility open around June sometime. So that's that. And if you have any questions, again, we're going to have a little bit of a conversation. Is there anything else that the board want to add? Okay. The next item is the Facilities and Parks Master Plan. I know you've heard a lot about it. You've probably come to one of the open public meetings that we've had. We've had some focus group meetings for our major stakeholders in town, our groups that utilize the facilities. We've been working on the survey. It should be about finalized. We had a couple little tweaks to it, but we're expecting it to go out over the next couple weeks. So keep an eye out for the survey. There's going to be two different surveys. They're both the same set of questions, but one of the surveys, randomly selected folks, not by me, not by anybody on the CROA board, but by the master planning firm, will be sent to different homes, and you'll have a code, and you can put your code in, and that'll be the statistically valid survey. So we encourage you, if you get that postcard with the code, fill that one out. Now you can fill that one out, and then you can also fill out the second survey, which is going to be the email that we're going to send. The email allows everybody an opportunity to answer the questions. So we'll have two different sets of questions, or the same questions, two different sets. All of that data will come back compiled into one master plan, and we'll get a draft probably in May sometime, and we'll be able to take that draft, fine-tune it, and then get a final version of the master plan. Next item is, we've been talking a little bit about a website upgrade. It has stalled a little bit as we transition from the old site to the new site. There's a ton of documents on there. So we have to make sure, as we're going through this process, that those documents are labeled correctly, and not labeled correctly for anyone that's seeing it, but the guts, the internal part of the website. And probably some of you are website developers and you know a lot more about it than I do, but inside of the website on the server, they're all labeled something. So we have to make sure that the nomenclature is correct and it's consistent for all these documents, and there's thousands of them. So that's what's taking a little bit more time for us. We do have a final version back that Patrick will be looking at over the next week or so, and then the board will review, and then we should have something that we can start getting out very soon. So I know everyone's anxious and they're ready to see it, and we do want to get it to you, but we want to make sure it's right. We want to make sure you have a good functioning website. Next item is charter updates. This is really exciting stuff. Charter gets updated about every 10 years, and the last one was around 2009. So it's time to dig into it, roll up our sleeves and really just start dissecting the charter and looking for something to go out to vote to the community for a charter update. So I'd like to ask Jackson if you want to add anything to that.
Oh, sure. Give me the exciting topic. I remember a year ago during the CROA elections, one of the questions was, how well do you know the charter? And I was like, oh, charter? But we actually read it, we use it. It's the governing document that helps us know what to do. And it has to be a document that lives and breathes with the community. As we've gone from 300 residents to 15,000 residents with 500,000 visitors or more, the charter has to reflect what this community is like and what its challenges are and what its opportunities are. But a charter change doesn't happen because this group of people up here decide independently as a group of 7, this is what we want to do. Charter changes happen organically at a community level. So what I'm hopeful will happen in the next few months is that we will put out a call for volunteers and people to be appointed to a charter commission review who will come together to look at a variety of topics. Management has been keeping a very thick notebook of topics as they came up when somebody would say, oh, we need to change the charter on that. We've talked with legal counsel, Tom Slayton's here from Larson & Associates, and he said, this would be a good item for charter review. And so we've got this fairly wide-ranging group of topics that we would like the community to begin to work with and put together recommendations. And the process will be that as the Charter Review Committee does their work, they will bring that back to CROA to make some decisions about, and then we will bring it back to the community for a community-wide decision. And while it seems like it's really just boring technical legal stuff, it is literally the stuff that makes people crazy when it's not done right. And you say, well, why are you doing that? Well, because the charter says we have to do that. So I think that if you really want to have a hand in governance of this community over the next decade, one of the most important ways you can do it is to participate in the charter review process. It's every bit as important as any other survey or poll that you take, and the time that you invest will be greatly appreciated by everybody on the board. So keep your eye open for it. We're excited about it. We think it's one of the big key items that we want to address in this upcoming year.
Thank you, Jackson. The next update we have is just quickly regarding a technology committee that's been formed, and we have a lot of applications that have been submitted, and Kevin Kirby's been the liaison from the CROA board with this committee, so I'm going to ask Kevin if he can speak for a quick second.
Hi, neighbors. Hi. Good to see everybody here. Thank you for coming. I always hate following Jackson when I have to speak because he's too good. So, Technology Committee. David started off in the beginning with all of our cornerstones that we have in the community. And we recognize, Vaughn specifically, I got to give a lot of credit for this, for the technology aspects not being well represented in the community. So, Vaughn encouraged this, and we're taking on a Technology Committee that can go ahead and review not just what we would all talk about as technology right off the bat, but methods of green, whether it be solar options in our community, different options that will help embrace those cornerstones as well and represent technology. So earlier today, we had an email go out. Thank you, Susan, to getting that out. And we have all of the applicants that are going to be meeting the 18th, I believe it is. We're going to go ahead and talk and see what brainstorming we can do to see where we'd like to see this community grow in technology. So we're excited for it. It's much needed, long overdue, but it's going to get into the 2000s now. So it'll be good. It'll be good. Thank you.
I'm going to stay seated. Can you guys hear me back? Okay. I just need to make a quick statement. As an active member of this community, I'm sure you're aware that sometimes our CROA meeting discussions often get heated. That is what occurred at our last meeting on February 27th, and I want to apologize for an unintended comment that I made during our Equinotus debate. In fact, I didn't realize that what I actually said until I was informed of such days later. I am not a practiced public speaker. I think most of you know I hate doing this. And without getting into particulars, I made an untrue statement about two board members, Vaughn Roberts and Jackson Mummy, during an unusually intense board argument. And I want to apologize profusely for my misstatement. No malice was intended.
Thank you, Debbie. So the next section that we have here then, and I know this was a little quicker than normal, but the board wanted tonight to just kind of give you a quick high overview of some of the projects that they're working on, but they really wanted to turn this into more of an opportunity for you to engage with them, interact with them a little bit more. So we do have a microphone here. We have about 30 minutes to do some questions and answers. So we just ask that you come to the microphone. If you'd like to get in line, you're more than welcome to over here. But they're going to pass the microphone along and take some questions and answers from you.
So it looks like we have one starting up here. And then we're going to pass the microphone among all of us up here. So go for it.
Hi, I'm Rich Toast, and I have a question. And if I'm out of line, please let me know and I'll just end it. But I read last week that there's two halfway houses here in town. One on, I think it's East Lawn, and one in either Longview or Long Meadow. My question is, I would consider that transient traffic. How does the town allow halfway houses in town, number one? And number two, it is my understanding there was a half a dozen teenage boys urinating on the back property of the house on Longview.
Let me thank you, first of all, for your concern. And I know this is a topic that's been discussed in social media. It's being discussed on porches and at dinner plates and other places. The reality here is that there is a process that we follow when there's a violation of covenants, and what you've just described are covenant violations. We have to prove them. We have to show that that's happening. We have a really diligent staff in management here that goes after these things, works on them, investigates, and then if they find violations, the process, as some of you know, is you get a letter and then you go to a fining process potentially if you don't comply. And as a best practice, we don't discuss those items by street addresses or individuals in these meetings because, you know, you don't all want to have the fact that you've got round gutters discussed in your meeting in front of the public. So to the extent that these things have happened, we've been working on them since October as a board. We have been working with management. We have called in the Osceola County Sheriff's Department, and they have done their investigation. And we are moving forward in all those areas. I think what I would say for the board, and I want to talk about this, is that we aren't going to have a conversation in public about a specific property because it's not appropriate. But what I can assure you is that we are working on it, we're dealing with it, and we are doing our very best to ensure the covenants that we all signed and agreed to are enforced in every way that they should be. And so I guess I'm asking for your patience in the sense that there are some things we can talk about publicly, and there are some things that we have to say we're aware of, we're working on, but we're not going to have a public discussion.
I understand. Okay, so I got one last question now.
Yeah, I guess the other thing Brian's saying that I should say explicitly, although it's implied, is we didn't approve any of that. We, in fact, took very stringent action and continue to take very stringent action. So I know there's some sense out there that maybe we've let this go on or happen. That is not the truth at all. And I know that for those of you that believe everything on Facebook to be true, this will be a shock to you. But in point of fact, we've been very proactive.
Okay, I have just one last question. I have a home, a rental home on Redbud, which abuts the property where the halfway house is. And these teenage boys were urinating on the property. Should I tell my tenants to immediately call the police and have them arrested for exposing themselves and urinating on the lawn?
Yeah,
Oh, Jerry's here. Can I ask Jerry that question? Jerry, are you here? You're here, Jerry. Good.
Here you go, Jerry.
The simple answer to that is yes.
Okay, good.
CROA, CDD, Town Hall, Lexington, none of those people are the police. Don't call them for that kind of things. Don't call your board members in your condos. Call the sheriff's office. 911 if you're not sure. You know, the same people answer 911 that answer the non-emergency numbers. If you're not sure of the non-emergency number, call 911. If you're calling about a barking dog, you may be put on hold because there's a robbery going on somewhere else. You know, but that's just the nature of it. So yeah, if there's any suspicious people, suspicious vehicles, incidents, you know, anything hanging around that doesn't seem right, call that in. That's what we want to come out to do. Don't kind of poo-poo it and go, well, maybe they're okay. Let us come out. We got guns to shoot back if we need to, but we'll find out what's really going on.
Okay, thank you very much, Jerry.
And like David said, Facebook is the devil's child right there. So don't listen to that.
But a lot of fun.
Jackson said that, but
It's a lot of fun.
But that's fine. That's fine. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you for your. Thank you.
And just to clarify the record.
Neighborhood.
Thank you.
You know, my tenants and anybody else that lives here in Celebration does not have to put up with anybody urinate on the
Right,
grass.
agreed.
Thank you.
Agreed. And just to clarify, Debbie reminded me, that we actually began the process in November. I said October. It was November. So just to be clear, we've been working on it.
Some other questions? Are we going to sit here in silence for 25 more minutes? No. Come on, please come up and so everyone can hear. Oh, I see two people coming up. Good. Thank you.
Let's see if I can come up with a filler question until we get the real guys to come up next. You talked about the development for the website. I'm having some trouble these days seeing minutes and agenda items. Is that what's being delayed and coming on the new site?
The current website that we have, the existing website, is a little bit harder to navigate. So that's one of the things that we are fixing with the new website, a more intuitive, user-friendly website where it's easier to find that stuff. A trick while we still have this website, though, if you want to find things easier, there's a search button over on the right. Because we have to put everything in as notifications, but there's a search button on the right. If you have something you want to look for, put that into that search button, and it will give you a list of 5 or 6 things that are close to what you're looking for. That's how I find everything on that website.
Okay, easy question. How do I win one of those pictures?
Stay till the end.
Well, we have, well, I don't want to give away yet, but volunteer. Sign up to be a committee volunteer.
Sign up.
Good.
My question, first of all, thank you. This was delicious. But my question is, I understand there's a pickleball court somewhere? Not yet?
There's a pickleball group in town, and I know that they're utilizing Georgetown right now. So there are some tennis courts in Georgetown that they're utilizing. Is there anybody here from pickleball tonight? Yeah, so we have a pickleball representative here. You guys are playing at Georgetown still? Yep. Right. And I know that there's been a lot of conversation about additional pickleball courts, so that's part of the Parks and Facilities Master Plan. Make sure when you get that survey, if pickleball is something of interest to you, fill that out and say, I know it's on there on the list. Check pickleball.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, yeah, it's live. You come up to us with lots of things. You've come up with pickleball, you've come up with croquet and different stuff like that, and we do hear you. For example, with pickleball, the first time we heard about it, Vaughn has actually met a couple times with Steve, with the superintendent of schools here. And we're trying to see if we can take the tennis courts, convert them over to be for both tennis and pickleball, upgrade the courts, and maybe K8 here, yes, right next to here, and maybe even get some parking spaces from the town as part of that too. I had brought up the idea, why don't we take some of the space around the athletic complex there and create a couple, 3 tennis courts and pickleball courts there. So we're exploring ideas like that. Croquet, for example. I was walking, my sisters were in town from Illinois, and I was actually walking around this weekend, found a place that I think could work really well for croquet, and that's something where you got to have really small grass, and I was talking with Todd Haskett about that today. So a lot of these ideas where you say, we tell them, are they listening? We tell them, are they listening? We're not reacting nearly as fast as you would hope we would, but we are listening, we are looking for places, and we hope to put in solutions that work for the community.
I just want to add one thing on pickleball. I do not play, but I hopefully can learn. I'm not very athletic, but I had talked, Vaughn had the idea, and Brian and other people in the community, but I talked with Terry Costella, the new rep for our school district, and also with Kim Mannion, the principal of the K through 8, and I think I mentioned it to Peggy as well. They're all very interested. They're all a great team working together, so Vaughn and whoever, if you can take it from here and go with that, I think you've got strong interest, and they are able to move the fence back and give you some spaces as well.
Some other questions?
Hi, I live across from the military park. I walk my dog there every day. Do you guys ever make an announcement at the school to ask those kids that are going to school there not to throw their crap all over the place? I mean, there's broken glass, pens, pencils, wrappers, all kinds. They come there in the morning, eat their pre-breakfast snack there, and they just throw the crap all over the place. I mean, I've never seen such a bunch of pigs in my life. So do you guys ever ask this, the people at the school?
Absolutely.
Beg them, please,
Yes.
not to do that?
Right. We have a really good relationship with Principal Mannion at the K through 8 school, and I know she works really hard to try and keep that kind of stuff from happening. The problem is that once the kids are out of school, it's really the parents' responsibility, because unless they're in an after-school program, that's not the responsibility of the school anymore. So we did talk to Principal Mannion about types of communication to the parents, those types of things. But if you know folks that have kids that are doing this, please talk to them about it, because we are going out there and cleaning that kind of stuff up. So that's the best way to address that, is for parents to talk to their teenagers, their kids, and let them know, please don't litter and don't throw things around the park.
Thank you for raising that. A couple other comments on that. All of us know, or many of us know, about cell service. And when I'm around the community and I see a light, many of us know about cell service. And so when I'm around the community, I see a light out or I see a tree fall, I do not worry whose responsibility it is, because we know that there's alphabet soup here with lots of different groups in charge. So we try to reach out to the schools, we reach out to the CCDD, reach out to others as appropriate. Similarly, we understand that down near the high school with the new McDonald's there's litter there also. So if we see it, report it, and then it gets, and again, Todd Haskett, I think, is the gatekeeper who passes along messages about who needs to repair or take care of the cleanup. But thank you for raising that. Other comments, questions? Come on. Oh.
Sandy bump us up 607 Front Street. I want to win one of these things here. But actually, I need to volunteer for a committee, technology committee. If it was just technology, I wouldn't understand half the words they say. But someone said it was, you're looking at lead principles and trying to make the town green. I'm LEED certified. I designed the the CDD building, which is FGBC certified. So if there's room on the committee, whoever it was you pointed to earlier, I would like to join.
Danny, we'll get you an application. I know where to find you, so we'll get you an application.
And then we will review the application.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a meeting coming up where all the people that submitted application will be attending, so we'll get to that and then we'll communicate to you when that will be.
Thanks very much.
And we need some others to come up and follow Danny. And
Kevin just told me it looks like it's going to be March 18th, so we'll get you an application.
Hi, everybody. I was downtown a couple days ago, and I was down at the corner of Market Street and Front Street, and I looked to my left, and I saw this really cool building. It kind of looked like a movie theater. And I thought, man, what a great place for a movie theater. And I wondered if the town knew that it was there. So, you know, I mean, I don't know.
Is that the question? That's what you want to deal with? I can answer.
We can go to them to the museum for a celebration in another couple of years. It's been so long since anything's been done there.
Yeah. I'll give you the facts about the movie theater, guys. The movie theater is owned by Lexan, and it's currently under a lease. And I don't know how long the lease is. Apparently, the leases are they can't disclose the information of how long they are. We have engaged conversation with them about how we can maximize the use of that theater. You're going to see questions on the master plan survey, the needs assessment survey, that ask you if you'd be interested in doing something with that theater, possibly performing arts, something along those lines. So I think the key here is collaboration, trying to work with the folks downtown at Lexan, and when the lease becomes available, find out what the opportunity is and see if we can take advantage of it and do something with it. But right now, it is under lease with AMC, and it's just not being utilized.
I'll add to that, though. I had a meeting with Mike Nunez of Lexan a week ago, and we actually talked about that theater. We talked about the concept of it being a performing arts center, for example. Mike was interested in the conversation. It would be a lease-structured type thing going forward. I mean, it was a broad, could this possibly work type conversation, and the answer was yes, this possibly could work. So we know it's there. We knew there was a long-term lease. I don't know when it ends, but it's getting closer, and we are actually conceptualizing, okay, how might we use this, because it would be part of a vibrant downtown, which would be good for all.
When you do a facilities master plan, you look at the needs of the community, and then you look at the assets of the community, and that's considered as an asset. It's just how do you get past the obstacles to utilize that asset. So it is on the list, and it's recognized, and we're working towards that.
To be very clear, it's their asset. It's not our asset.
But it's an opportunity. It's a potential. But we have PJ first.
Hi, I'm PJ Cartwright. I live at 1000 Via Capri in Siena, which is South Village. I just want to say it's sort of like preaching to the choir, and I realize I'm preaching to the choir because by your attendance you have indicated your interest in our community. So I'm really speaking to those of you at home that are watching this via internet streaming. You have an opportunity to participate in your community. Everyone is welcome. I want to personally thank those who serve on our board, those that serve on our community. All are welcome. Anyone who knows me knows that I make my opinions heard. And I will tell you that they are listened. They may not agree with me, but they do listen. So I encourage everyone in the community, come participate in the opportunities to serve on the community committee, serve on your community board, attend your community meetings. That is how you know what is happening in your community. And thank you for our board of directors. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for your service, for your outspokenness, and for how you spent your Tuesday night.
Here I am back again, Rich Toast. One question. Has anyone considered contacting AMC for a sublease, or will Lexan not allow them to sublease to someone else? And has anybody ever thought about that?
The answer is yes. We are, as Brian said, we are engaged in negotiations and conversations right now, trying to understand what the possibilities are. The Parks Recreation Facility Master Plan will be a huge leverage point for us. If the community comes back and says this is a priority, that gives us an opportunity, frankly, to say we can change the conversation about downtown by looking at an iconic building and doing something really special with it. These things take some time, and they're challenging, but this board, and I want to say for all of the members of this board, have really not shied away from taking on those big questions and big problems. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day stuff and not be thinking about the kinds of questions that you're asking about and that others have asked about. And I think what we're trying to do right now is to grapple with those bigger problems and say, even if it takes us a while to figure it out, let's go for it and make it work. So, you know, it's out there, and we're working on it.
So, thank you. We have about 5 more minutes for questions. Steve? Meryl.
Meryl Macklin, and I too would like to say thank you, all of you, for all you do. It's so appreciated. And I'd also like to send a personal thank you to JR for supporting me in getting my art stroll flyers into the publications, etc. And I've been doing the art strolls, producing the art strolls for, I think, 10 years, maybe more now. And as of recently, Mike Nunes has been kind enough to give me a couple more dates. And it seems as though now my art strolls are following the Music on Market Friday nights, and there's a nice big stage there that they take down on Friday night. And I was wondering, because I don't know who to ask as long as you're all here, is there any way that that stage could stay up and come down after my art stroll on Saturday night? Because I have performers.
Meryl, I can answer that. So JR and I will be the one that will work with you on that, and then with Mike also, just to have some communication on how long that stays up. So if you just want to reach out to us tomorrow or Friday, and we can talk to you about that. That's no problem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meryl. We have a couple more for questions.
Celia McFadden. I just want to follow what PJ said and also what Jackson said about social media. You are 100% true, right, when you say how things just go out of control on social media. Right now we have a predator alligator by Publix. We have people getting on the express line with full carts. We have
we need to do.
It just takes a life of its own. But when it comes down to it, if you don't want to be part of the community, and you don't want to get involved, and you don't come to the meetings and learn, these guys may not always do what we want. We may have a lot of people that want certain things, and we voted you in, we have to trust you guys. And I don't care what anybody says, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else but Celebration.
Thank you. I think a lot of us feel that way. Thank you for sharing that.
Now I know why I have no social media presence. I missed all that good stuff. But just one last question. Al Groves, 506 Sycamore. I expected to hear a little bit about Celebration 25 tonight. I didn't hear anything about that. You got a little something you'd like to put out?
So Celebration 25, Gloria's here, was started by the Celebration Foundation to celebrate the 25th year since Celebration was built, starting in 1994. If you look on all of our manhole covers, you will see that's the year where it was built. Disney planned Celebration for about 10 years before they broke ground. And the committee is composed of people from all areas of Celebration, the Celebration Foundation, some people from CROA, different homeowners, people from the school. It's a pretty large group, and I think a lot of things are still being formed, but they're going to have different celebrations leading up into the crescendo, where we'll spend a lot of money and probably have fireworks, but I don't know. You never know around here. But anyway, I'm sure that the opportunity will be there to put input into the committees and just get a hold of someone on the committee and let people know. I'll be on the committee, Vaughn's on the committee, Steve on the committee, Gloria. Anyone else here on the committee that's here? Paul Kinzer, anyone else? I know Floyd McClellan is on it, and I'm sure some other people, so thanks.
No. Now, the committee is being, what CROA has decided after the glorious event that Gloria sponsored back in October, CROA decided to help house it or host it, not own it, but host it. And so we put together and passed a resolution. So there's a steering committee of 9 people, 2 from the foundation, 2 from CDD, 2 from CNOA, and 3 from CROA. It's not yet fully constituted, but it will be, and it's looking ahead to the next 25 years. So trying to be more intentional about the future that we want to create rather than just let it happen. We want to help own, and again, following what John Gardner said, the quote that I used at the beginning, so helping to be more intentional. So it's very exciting. We're excited about it, and we appreciate Gloria and her team helping to orchestrate that. Is that a good point to transition, or do we have a last question?
All right, thank you. And that's actually a good point to transition because our next guest is Glorious Gloria from the foundation.
Sorry.
Thank you. So I don't know how glorious I am, but I am Gloria, and I'm the Executive Director of the Celebration Foundation, and I am the grateful Executive Director of the Celebration Foundation, and I'm also a very happy Gloria, because today, my husband doesn't even know this, and he's back there in the audience. I knew I was going to be a grandmother, but today I found out I'm going to be the grandmother of a little baby girl. Yay! And this is how dense I can be, and I don't want to have my back to the board, I'm sorry. When I asked my son, who I was speaking to, so what's her name going to be? Did you pick out a name? And he said, yes, it's going to be Isabel Ann. And I went, oh, well, Ann's my middle name. And he went, duh. You know, yes, we're naming her middle name after you. And it was like, oh my gosh, I thought it was so exciting. But anyway, so I want to thank the CROA board. We appreciate your time and the service of the outgoing members, Jack and Debbie. Thank you, Jack and Debbie. We appreciate you. And we also welcome the incoming members, Vanessa, Marianne, along with David, who is staying on the board. So just a quick thing about the 25th anniversary. On March, later on this month, on March 28th, 29th, Michael McCann, and who here knows Michael McCann's renderings? Michael McCann did some of the early renderings of Celebration way back 25 years ago, and they're here on the wall, Michael McCann renderings. He is coming back to town to do a rendering for the 25th anniversary. So we're going to have a little reception. It'll be announced. It's too late for the Celebration News, but watch our website or watch our Facebook page. But we're going to have a little reception at the 690 building, so you're welcome to come and meet him. So, and thank you, Steve. We are grateful to you and your staff for helping us to create such wonderful partnerships for Thriving in Place, Lifelong Learning, the Winter Wonderland, and just a few days ago, we're all still recovering, we had Dancing Through the Decades. This was our party where everyone was dancing, and I heard from lots of folks, this was the perfect celebration place to have a party, and we have to do it here every year. So, look forward to next year. We might be dancing back here. It was in this room, and people couldn't believe how we transformed this room. So I'm curious, and don't raise your hands, but I want to ask you some questions, and I want you to think about some things. Have you ever attended a Celebration concert? Who saw the Vienna Boys Choir perform a couple of Saturdays ago? Don't raise your hands, but I'm just asking questions. How many of you have participated in a New Urbanism walking tour or attended a community conversation, perhaps one when we had Michael Eisner and Peter Rummel speak, or when Tom Lewis, Charles Adams, Joe Barnes, or Brett Harrington spoke? Or maybe you were there when our own Dawn Thomas spoke a couple of weeks ago. How many of you are a member of Thriving? Are you a Thriving volunteer? Do you have a neighbor or a friend in the community that belongs to Thriving? Did you ever teach a lifelong class? Have you been a lifelong learning member? Does your daughter participate in the WINS program at Celebration K through 8? Did you ever come to one of our meal packing events in this room? We packed 250,000 rice lentil meals for those who are less fortunate than us in the county. Did you help to pack snacks for the Gary Sinise Gold Star families and children when they visited Disney in December? Did you ever donate sheets to us when we were collecting for Good Sam's when they were flooding? Do you have a son or a daughter that ever received a foundation scholarship? Do you know a neighbor or a student that received a scholarship from the foundation? Did your child ever take a tour of Valencia or OTEC? Does your child volunteer for us? Were they in the marching band during the 4th of July parade? Did you ever have your home on the holiday home tour? Did you ever come on the tour? Did you donate a tree or a table to Winter Wonderland? Have you ever come to a Celebration Foundation gala or the dance? Have you served on our board? Are you one of our hundreds of volunteers? Have you participated in one of our committees? Have you donated to the Celebration Foundation? So now please do me a favor. If you can say yes to any of those, raise your hand. And take a look around, folks. So, and this is taken directly from an old letter in the file. In 1994, the Celebration Company, TCC, developed a vision for a community organization called the Celebration Foundation that would be dedicated to the mission Whoops. I'm going to start that again because I was interrupted. In 1994, so a long time ago, the Celebration Company, TCC, developed a vision for a community organization called the Celebration Foundation that would be dedicated to the mission of creating a successful and active environment in the new town of Celebration. They developed these operating principles: encourage community spirit, create innovative programs, motivate and support those who build community, serve as a liaison to other community service organizations, provide the people of Celebration with a sense of place. Well, folks, guess what? You, each of you that raised your hand, you are the Celebration Foundation. So thank you for making our community what it is today. Thank you all.
Thank you, Gloria. This community is truly blessed to have Gloria as the executive director of the foundation. And her and her volunteers and her board, they do a great job. So give her one more round of applause. She's awesome. Okay. So now Gloria spoiled it for me. This was my job, but that's okay, Gloria. So I would like to introduce to you now your newly elected board of directors. We had 5 candidates running for 3 open positions. And here are our winners. So if I could introduce to you, and if you could just come stand up here so we can get a picture. We have Mr. David Anderson, who's going to be serving another 2 years. So David Anderson. Vanessa Winter's back again. She took a year off, or 2 years off, and now she's back. And Marianne Berry is our third. So if you guys could just stand up here for a second in front of the board, so if you mind joining them, if you can get a picture of you 3 together. And then, Kevin, if you could move your stuff real quick, I'm going to ask them to sit up here with you guys. Wherever there's an open spot, they can grab one. Okay. You got it? Okay. One more round of applause. Welcome these guys. We're going to, we got everybody up here? Okay, we're going to do some volunteer recognition now. First off, I want to just say thank you for everybody that volunteers your time. I want to point out, again, I know we talk about it constantly, but whether you agree with the politics or the discussion, the debate, these folks are volunteers. They do not get paid a dime to do this. They care enough about their community to say, I'm going to put my name out there for Facebook criticism or criticism at CROA board meetings. I mean, it's fair to criticize me. I get paid for it. But these guys are volunteers. So they are really dedicated to this community, very passionate about the community. And they deserve a big round of applause for all their work so far. So I can grab something real quick. We like to do a little gift every year for our outgoing volunteers, or our outgoing directors. So I have a little, if I can get this open, I can show you. We have a little thumb drive with all the CROA documents from their time on the board. It's got their initials on there. So I would like to, this one has a name on it, so I would like to recognize first, after coming off the board for 4 years of service, Jack McLaughlin. You want to hold it like this?
Actually, it's more like 8.
Well, we'll talk about that. Okay. Our next, here, Jack, let me give you the box to that, too.
Thank you.
Our next volunteer, who, again, 4 years, very passionate about this community, gave a lot of time, wonderful ideas. And in fact, tonight, the pots, that what are those things called? The pitchers? Oh, my gosh. It's been a long day. The pitchers over here, this was Debbie's idea to do those pitchers, so they're beautiful pitchers. But thank you for 4 years of service, back-to-back consecutive years of service. Debbie McDonald. Give you the box too. Here. Okay, we're going to take a little break in between. I'm going to give out some awards to our committee members also, but let's watch the annual video first. That was fun to see last year. It's gone by fast, hasn't it? I can't believe it's already 2019. Okay, so that was the annual video. So a couple more thank yous that I'd like to offer. I know Deputy Weiland, is he still here? Did he leave? No, he's back there. So everyone, one more round of applause for Jerry. He's so good for this community. Do we have any CDD members here tonight? No CDD members here with us? But we want to say thank you to CDD, the Celebration Company, any of our community volunteer patrols, all of our partners, our sponsors, and if you advertise in the magazine, we just want to say thank you for that. Okay, so now I would like to call up each committee, and Susan, if you could, does everyone know Susan Kearns, the community manager here? Big round of applause for Susan. As I call your name for the Special Events Committee first, if you can come up, Susan's going to hand you a picture, and then just stand right up in front here. We'll get a picture of the committee with the board behind you. So for the Special Events Committee, this is a powerhouse superstar volunteer, Dory Moore, as the chairperson of that committee. Debbie Jackson, Eileen Barr, PJ Cartwright, Melody Nemeth, and Joanne Albert. Go ahead and grab a picture from Susan and then come up here. So if you guys want to just line up right here in front of the board, and we'll get a picture of you guys. And where the party is afterwards, the post party. Thank you so much, ladies. The ladies help plan all the special events in town. The next committee is the ARC committee, and if I can get Michael as the chairperson. We got Adal, Nathaniel, and Jesse. Michael's our lone ARC committee member tonight.
Can you gather your committee?
Yeah, come on up, grab a picture. Okay, for our Covenants Committee, we have Stephen as the chairperson. I'm not going to try the last name. I always butcher it. So it's Fraunfelter, Stephen Fraunfelter. We have Gary Hudspeth, Robert LaFlame, Terry, Shelley, and Michael.
I'll get this framed.
You have to fill it yourself. All right, thank you guys. Our Recreation Committee is chaired by Adam Parrish. And we have Joseph, Dory, Clint, Sue, and Alan. And Dory's here. Now, all these committees had tables set out in the lobby. When we're done, I ask if they can stay just for a couple minutes. If you have any more questions for them, they'll be around here.
I feel like Eileen should be in the picture, but she's like,
Thank you. And then last but not least, our Dog Park Committee. Maureen is our chairperson. We have Leslie, Mark, Eileen. Oh, so Eileen's coming back again. Dory, Frank, and John. You get the picture? And if you have more than one pitcher, I will trade you that pitcher for some sort of wine or something to put it, because we do have other volunteers come for. Thank you. Trying to say that as classy as possible. Give me back that award. Thank you. Okay. So once again, one more big round of applause for all of our volunteers. Thank you all very much. Okay, and if anybody didn't get a chance to come last night, I didn't see a lot of people here, but last night was an exciting night. The poll workers come at about 5 o'clock, and they start getting everything prepared to count ballots. And there's a regimented process for doing this. And there's one person in particular that makes sure that it stays a regimented process and will not let it get out of line, and that's PJ Cartwright. So thank you so much, PJ. This is a painstaking process, and she is so good at it. She was training Debbie Jackson last night to, I guess, eventually take over one day. So thank you, guys. Was anybody else here that's here now? Was anybody else on this group last night that was counting? Yeah, one more round of applause for everybody that was here counting votes last night. Okay, and then last but not least, about 2 years ago, I really wanted to recognize some volunteers with some longevity, volunteers that have spent a lot of time in the community giving back, and there was nobody better in my mind to give the inaugural award to than Dory Moyer. She's on 4 different committees. She's been doing this for years and years and years, so she kicked off the Volunteer Hall of Fame award recipient. Last year, Sal Negro received it, and so this year, we're going to award as the executive director, I've selected to award the Volunteer Hall of Fame to somebody that has served over about 8.5 years on the CROA board, has been on the Covenants Committee for more than one time, I think 2 different years, served on charter review committees, just always willing to volunteer, has worked with us on the athletic field complex. In case you haven't figured it out yet, the 2019 Volunteer Hall of Fame Award winner is Jack McLaughlin. And so Jack actually does have alcohol right here that he can put into his pitcher. So I'll give you that, and I'll give you a pitcher here.
All this.
And I'm going to... Thank you so much, Jack. You've been a great volunteer, and we wish you the best of luck. So that, my friends, is the end of the meeting. But before we go, I have one more surprise for you. You might not be walking out of here empty-handed. I want you to take a look under your seats, and let me just real quickly thank Columbia and Town Tavern. They donated some gift cards to us. So look under your seats, and if you have a piece of paper attached to your seat, you get a gift card. No, just out in the audience, so you guys don't get one. And if there's empty seats and you're not sitting in it, look at it. Feel free. I have to go get them out of my office, though.